And okay, we have this announcement that recording is progress. And thank you very much for joining our sixth, podcast tonight. We will be talking about if about artificial intelligence and if the world is really ready to work with it. And we have two great guests with a lot of experience. So today will be interesting discussion based on real life experience in IT. Yeah. As always, with you, me, Oleksandr Moskalyuk. I am a certified business analyst with more than 25 years in IT. And Rainer, please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm a little bit older than Alexander. You can see it at my hair color, and I'm project manager and business analyst, and I'm mentioning project manager first because this is with what I'm earning my money mainly, but my passion is business analysis.
And yeah, today we're preparing for our European BA Day, and previously we had first BA Day offline. It was great event, but this time we will have it online. And please join us on May 16th. Use this link to register and get instructions, and we will have a lot of interesting speakers. All of our speakers today will be speaking during the conference. And there will be more interesting topics. So please join. And now I should introduce our main sponsors. It's Masventa More Business. It's a consulting company that provides trainings in business analysis, project management, and preparing for certification. And the same is IBO, another consulting company that helps business analysts and professionals to grow in their professional field. And please meet our guests. Christiane, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I live in Belgium, in Brussels, and I usually work in Brussels for rather large organizations. I'm a business analyst, and I've been doing this for 30 years. And so, yes, in Brussels, you have to speak Dutch, French, and English, and sometimes German. And I've been on a lot of different projects, and that's where my conclusion comes from for artificial intelligence, based on my experience in Brussels.
Great, thank you. And another guest is Guy. Guy, please.
Hello, good evening. So usually I'm saying I'm the odd man out. By profession, I'm a journalist, so I'm kind of looking from the outside into, let's say, the world of information technology, not being an IT person myself. But the interesting point is I've been doing this for quite a few years, more than 30 years. So I have seen IT come and go, and among them, AI, artificial intelligence as well. So perhaps if I may be sounding slightly pessimistic later on, be advised that I've seen heydays and winters of AI. But then again, that's an interesting part of it, of being around for some years and having written and talked about AI for many, many years, and IT as well. So I'm a journalist, ex-journalist, so consider me to be kind of the odd man out.
I think your insights will be very interesting and useful anyway. And again, so we talk about artificial intelligence. First, let me ask Christiane, are you optimist or pessimist about artificial intelligence, and why?
When it comes to artificial intelligence, I'm a pessimist, and that's based on my experience. When I start on a new project as a business analyst, the first thing I need to do is to understand the current situation. And so I speak to the users and I ask them questions. And very often I realize that the users know only three screens from the application. They use it all day, every day, but they don't know what the application does. The application makes invoices and calculates interests and calculates taxes and calculates discount, but the user knows only what they themselves need to do. So it's hard for me to find out how everything works, and I need to do some detective work at the start of the project. And then sometimes I meet the manager, and many managers have only a vague idea of the business processes that are being executed. And then I go to the IT department and I ask the IT people how things work. And sometimes they know and sometimes they don't, because some IT people have arrived on the project after the predecessor has left, the person who knew how everything worked. And very often there is no detailed documentation. When I speak to the IT people, there are internal people and external people. And for the external people, it's worse. They have been there for 3 months or 6 months, and they have explored one part of the data processing software, and they don't know a lot about the rest. So for me, when I arrive, it's hard to even find out the current situation, even before we start designing the future situation. Can I have the next slide, please?
Of course.
And then if I look a little further, sometimes I meet the people from the HR department. They usually don't understand what we are talking about. I don't get the opportunity to speak to the board of directors, but the project managers tell me that these people only talk about strategy and revenue, and they don't know a lot about the business processes. Then sometimes there is an IT supplier, and sometimes they are really good and know all the details, and sometimes they're not really competent and don't know everything about the software they are installing. And then at the horizon, we have politicians, which cause problems too, because sometimes there's a politician who is glad that his proposal has been accepted, and then the politician says, this new law is applicable next Monday. And the politician doesn't understand that that is not possible. When you start a new law, you have to leave some time for the analysts and the developers and the people who install the software. So even after 50 years of creating software, we're still at that stage. And that's why I'm a pessimist for the future. And I'm going to check my notes because I had written down some things that I wanted to share. Yes. Oops. When here we are. This ignorance, it very often causes problems when you want to change something or start something new. When organizations want to analyze their data, they want to make statistics, they want to do business intelligence and analytics, the first thing they realize is that there's a problem with data quality. The data is not correct. And then when they want to be compliant with the laws for privacy and data protection, then the first thing they realize is that they don't even know where they store data about people. They have databases, yes, but next to the databases, there are Excel sheets. And who made these Excel sheets and who's using them and how do they work and where is the data kept? They have to start looking for the data even before they can start being compliant. And there's something else. In Brussels, we have every year an event for security people. And then I go there and I speak to the security people and I realize they are all depressed because they are trying to give good advice to their customers, but their customers don't really understand the urgency or the size of the problem. And what else have I noted? Yes, ever since we've had SAP and other ERP applications, we realize that these softwares, they are very sophisticated. That's an advantage and that's a drawback. Sometimes the software is too complex to handle. And then there was another point, I had forgotten it, but Guy reminded me of it. in many companies, there is shadow IT. The people who work in the organization have installed software and the IT department doesn't know about it. So the situation is not under control. And all these things make me a pessimist. And then I was looking for statistics and I found something called the productivity paradox. That's something that people talk about in a business school. And there has been a lot of investment in software in the 70s and 80s and later. And some people try to measure, did all that software actually increase our productivity? And it did not, or not as expected. I don't know the details of this discussion, but I wanted to mention it because it's important and the business schools know about it and discuss it. And then there's one more point that worries me. That's how do we develop software? Some people say waterfall, some people say agile, some people make a mixture. So I think it's worrying that after 50 years of software development, we're still not sure about these things. So that's why I worry. Could I have the next slide, please?
Yeah, of course. And want to add small comment that about Excel. There was a recent article about Formula One, and they were surprised that all the components and details for their cars they keep in Excel's huge Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, and they fought it here for a year just to move to another ERP system, some ERP system. So it's in every company, I think.
Yes, working with Excel can create problems, but I don't want to go in too deeply or else I will fill the hour. So in the future situation, we will have everything we have today. And on top of that, AI applications. And I'm worried that the situation is going to be too difficult, too complex for the managers, and too complex for the users, and too complex for the IT people, and too complex for the external IT people. And can I have the next slide, please?
Of course.
And too difficult for the HR people to work with, too difficult for the board of directors to understand, too difficult for the IT companies, and too difficult for politicians. And so my answer is, if you ask me optimist or pessimist, then I say pessimist. And I wanted to add a few recent examples that have been in the press. I'm going to check my notes, but I know them. Ah, yeah, thank you. I live in Brussels, and here we have a water company. They do drinking water and they do the sewers, and they send invoices to their customers. But for a whole year, they were not able to send out invoices, and that was a software problem. So they didn't send invoices, so they didn't have money coming in, so they didn't have money to pay the staff. So they went to the bank and took out a loan. And that problem has, I'm not sure it's solved by now. That problem has been going on for more than a year. Next one, please. Thank you. In Belgium, there are different places where the usage of gas and energy is being recorded. And then they decided it was all that data was going to come together on one platform called Atrias. And it's been going on for a year or two. And the journalists keep writing articles. It doesn't work, month after month. So we're waiting, and that's a software problem. But it's important to record the usage of energy correctly. Can I have the next one, please? There is a telecom company that had complaints, reprimands from the minister because things were going wrong. And that was a software problem too. They have customers calling to tell them when the system doesn't work, when the network doesn't work, and they need to send people to repair it. And then they replaced the old application with a new application, and it didn't work. So thousands of customers were angry, and they told the ombuds people, and they told the minister, and the minister told this company to work better, to get control over the situation. But it was a software problem. Can I have the next one, please? The most awful example is from Britain, and it has lasted for 25 years. It was a software problem, and they didn't know it was a software problem. The British Post thought that the employees were stealing money. And the post is not just about letters, it's about accounts with money too. They thought that the employees were stealing money, and some of the employees were fined or sent to prison. And after 25 years, they discovered it was a software problem. And I have just one awful example more. And I added the link because you're not going to believe this. I heard a story from someone who's a member of IIBA in Texas. And the city of Dallas has lost an incredible amount of data from their computer. It's gone from the computer, it's gone from the backup. And these were police data, they were criminal records. And my colleague told us that story in a meeting, and I couldn't believe it, but I looked it up. And on the website of the city of Dallas, there is an item which is called data loss. And there they tell you the story that they've actually lost terabytes of data. So that's my conclusion. If you ask me optimist or pessimist, I say pessimist.
Okay, but on the other side, can we say that all these problems and all these things just gives the optimistic view for IT people? Because we will have a lot of job in the future just dealing with all these things.
You are very optimistic.
There always should be good side about all these things.
No, I think we need to help the users understand and educate the managers and educate the board of directors. Recently, we were at an event. I was there, Guy was there, and it was for IT people, it was for IT managers. But the question of the day was, what does the board of directors know? And there were people standing on stage from 3 different organizations. And it was every time one member of the board of directors and the CIO. And while the CIO was explaining what was happening in their organizations, you could see these people from the board blinking. You know, you knew that they didn't understand what the other person was saying. But I'm glad that at least somebody touched on the problem.
Yeah, and again, it makes a lot of things more complicated, and it creates new problems that we were not prepared for. But anyway, it creates some new opportunities. Guy, what do you think about AI and future development of IT and humanity?
Well, actually, piggybacking on the remark of Christiane, that there's still work cut out. You can always be optimistic and say, and as you said, and there's plenty of work to be done in the future. You can always think of the song, "Yes, we can work it out," of the Beatles. So ultimately, but if you ask me regarding AI, the future or today.
Yeah, what do you think about future and today? Yeah, well, I will put this slide with a discount coupon on the screen.
A commercial.
Yeah, commercial.
Commercial.
As organizers, we can put some commercial.
Yes.
During the podcast.
So
Yes, you should.
Yeah, Guy, I don't want to cut you the word, but I just have one remark to
Yes.
Christiane before we go on and continue. So Christiane, thank you for exposing these dramatic cases. But on the other hand, I was thinking on some lines like, okay, you have picked 5, 6 projects which have totally failed or where a very bad situation has started or has existed. But on the other hand, if you put it in relation to the millions of systems which are working quite properly and with which people are quite happy. So I myself, I've worked at Vodafone, I think 15 years ago, and I was in the customer service management, and this is very, very closely related to invoicing, and so every month we had 32 million of invoices, and don't ask me how, but it worked. It was somehow fascinating that it worked because as you know from the mobile market, they have so many different tariffs and so many different bonus points and debit and credit and whatsoever and special things, and everything worked. Of course, there was a lot of let's say problems, but only minor problems. The majority worked, and I find this. On the other hand, I find this very fascinating that okay, millions of projects are going smoothly, and some of the projects, they are really complete disasters, like Lidl in Germany, or like the city of Dallas, or some other examples.
Rainer, are you familiar with the chaos report from the Standish Group?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm using it always as a good example, and I know that that a third of the projects, round about a third, is cancelled because it cannot be brought to an end. Somebody is pulling the plug. Yeah, I know.
Some projects are considered successful, and I remember last time I checked, it was about a quarter. And then there was a project which are cancelled because they're hopeless, and that was also about a quarter. And that leaves about 50% of projects which are over time and over budget, but still they end up working. And I think this yes, challenged. What a lovely word. And I worry about that. And sometimes I feel that being a business analyst is a lonely job, because you sit there, you stand there, and you worry about all these things, and the other people don't look at it. The IT people, they worry how much place you take on the disk and how that grows every month, and if the jobs at night have worked properly. And the people in administration, they worry about accountancy and invoicing and about their work. And you stand there as a business analyst, and you have an overview, and you know that there is an accident waiting to happen. And my take on this is that artificial intelligence is a million accidents waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Excuse me, may I add a comment to this from my point of view as a journalist? Because I've been writing about this for Data News, about these kind of problems of projects not being on time or being over budget, etc. Obviously, you're quite obviously right. There are plenty of projects that work fine, etc. But what I would like to point out is I've been writing about the 75% of projects more or less workable or not, etc., from the 80s. And today we are still publishing the same figures. So there is a trend indicating that there is no actual improvement. The percentage of flawed or challenged projects remains the same. I've seen the same regarding security. I've seen the same regarding, for instance, the OWASP list of top 10 mistakes in online web applications. The top 10 hasn't changed except for some problems changing position by every couple of years, but the same number of difficulties remains after something like 15 to 20 years. So if we had the first commercial computer software in the beginning of the 60s, and if we are today, once again, still providing commercial software, and there's still the same kind of percentage of challenged or flawed projects, that's the problem. There's to an extent no improvement. Obviously, there are plenty, certainly plenty of good, or even if they're flawed, fine working projects, but there's still somewhere a fundamental problem of people not really making this next step of fully understanding what's all involved and what's all involved in having a project that from day zero until end of life actually works. And that's the worrying part. Not so much that they are bad projects, not so much certainly that they are good projects. The problem is that we still have this trend of continuing problems. And that's something that may or probably will be even more aggravated when you add the AI element to it. Because AI being at a certain point being black bookish like, and something almost incomprehensible, at that point, we'll be adding a factor of what the hell is going on? Wow.
Yeah, I would like to answer. So what we have discussed before was the scale of some projects failing and a huge amount of projects succeeding, and we said, okay, the Standish report, the chaos report puts it in numbers. That's fine. And what I like to add to what you are saying, because you're looking back on the time scale, and you're looking even back to the 70s or the 60s, where the computer technology started to exist. So the complexity and the amount of computer systems and all the, let's say, different areas of our life which have been occupied by computer technology is an enormous growth. And so now you can say, okay, the rate of failing project has been constant over the years, but on the other hand, the complexity has grown extremely. So I would even say, hey, we can be happy that the rate of failing projects have not grown as well because of the complexity. So you can look at this from a positive perspective. You can say, even that the complexity has grown that much, we were able to keep the rate of failing project constant. So it's always a matter on, let's say, how you express it and how you tell it. And this is I like to be to turn it around, to be on the other side, in such discussions, to get a more neutral view on it.
My apology. The problem is that I usually try to play the devil's advocate, so please don't shoot me. But the point is, at this point, by the way, I agree with what you're saying, but my point of view as the devil's advocate, I would be saying, lo and behold, after 60 years or 50 years of commercial software, we have better development support, project management support, frameworks, methodologies, etc., that simply did not exist in the 60s. So obviously, I don't want to push or stretch this point. Don't get me wrong.
No. But what I wanted to pick from what you have said is very interesting. I think you said in a short statement that AI, with its complexity and with its black box character, makes the situation even worse. And this is something I would agree, because in simple software systems, like they have existed in the 80s or the 70s or whatever, debugging, finding errors was quite, let's say, an easy job compared to what you have to do today. Because when you are, or in case you are searching a complex problem, an error which probably only occurs every now and then without a scheme or a structure, so you don't know how to follow the bug. You are trying to find tracks in the log files. You are doing systems. You're observing systems. You're mirroring systems. Everything, and you don't find it. And so we have a lot of situations like this in the last time. And now imagine that you have to debug the functionality of an artificial intelligence. This is no longer is this a real word? Debuggable? So, yeah,
It's not comprehensible to begin with.
yeah, this is what I meant. It is not built up on simple rules with which you can say, okay, if this and that, go right, go left, count to 10, and if you overflow, do that. This is a big set of rules which is the basis of classic software. But
And actually,
what is yeah?
Sorry, excuse me, Christian. Actually, my apologies, because your remarks make me think actually of an additional function of the business analyst. Because what to an extent you're saying, if the individual elements of a solution are presenting difficulties to be debugged, at a certain point, the debugging should be done on the process level almost of the solution, being that the business analyst will have to have an insight of the whole process during the solution, trying to almost prevent or to kind of install double check or checkpoints to kind of catch difficulties or mistakes being made by specific elements of the solution, and the business analyst understanding the fulsomeness of the process and being capable of indeed, as I said, putting in checkpoints to say, lo and behold, let's here double check what part X, Y, or Z has produced. So actually what you're saying makes me think of the fact that this perhaps may be an additional function of the business analyst.
Yes and no, but Christiane, you wanted to say something.
Yes, I read an interview with somebody who makes artificial intelligence programs, and the interviewer said, "How do you work?" And he said, "Well, we tweak it a bit on the left, we tweak it on the right, and if it functions, we stop tweaking." And there is no source code that they don't know themselves. Even the people who have trained the AI program could not debug it. It's impossible to debug.
Yeah, this is what I meant. And so now that you are saying, Guy, that the BA or the business analyst slips into a role that he or she can have an overview, can have an overarching perspective on all the ingredients. I see another challenge. So until now, let's say, software has been written by developers, and if there is a bug in the software, the responsible person was the developer to fix the problem, because there was software and there is a bug. There is a bug in the software, and the bug has to be fixed. And the responsible person is the developer. A very clear chain. Maybe you can put the tester in between, who helps the developer to find the bug, and then again, after the developer thinks he has fixed it, test again, and things like that. Yeah, but now if we turn if we go now on another level, where you cannot debug code, where the problem doesn't exist in the code anymore, but it's more on the level of artificial intelligence, meaning models which have been put together, probably things which only can be understood by a BA which is working in the area of AI, then the responsibilities change as well. Because what are the developers then? Are the BAs becoming the new developers in the age of the AI? Mm-hmm. So this is you with what you are saying, you are triggering a lot of thoughts in my mind.
Actually, what I was saying is the business analyst analyzes the business, kind of makes clear for all people involved, either the developers, etc., but stakeholders, look, if this is the problem, this is the solution, this is the process that will be involved, the business process that will be involved in kind of providing the solution. But it's not simply kind of, this is, let's say, from a functional point of view, how you get from A problem to B solution output. You will also have to kind of input saying, look, if individual parts of the solution may be difficult to grasp or to understand, at least the output of those black boxes should be checked. But for this check to be done, it has to be put into the process. It should be provided. You should think about it. You should provide the resources. You should at least, as a business analyst, wave the flag and say, lo and behold, in this chain, in the process, those elements, those output should be checked. And to an extent, it's already being done for, let's say, GDPR, etc., and privacy, because you have to be clear as a business analyst that you at least consider what has to be done, needed to be done to protect the privacy of the people involved, in the subjects involved in the process. But in the case of AI, there as well. And by the way, if you look at the AI Act, that will be the case, because several kind of AI processes or technologies, whether they are prohibited or whether they're high risk, they should get additional consideration and attention, whether not to be used, as in the case of prohibited, or to be used carefully with additional safeguards. And then again, that's a matter of the process, overall process.
Yeah. So I have already given the thumbs up. Yeah, I think on the same lines.
Oh yeah, clearly.
What I think is going to happen is there will be confusion, and then people will call upon the business analyst and say, could you walk me through? Could you discuss this with me? Because I'm getting confused because there are so many details. And that's when people are going to call the business analyst.
Yeah, there is. Let's look at this from the other point of view, because with artificial intelligence we can shorten the process from getting a request to do something and bringing the value, real value. Because programming is not a value; it's a process, and value is what we get from the system. And using artificial intelligence, business analysts can quickly create some solution, maybe even proof of concept. But anyway, it's just much quicker than previously when you should ask the developers build something or something else.
Provided. Christiane?
I'm worried since we started doing client server, because in the past, when you looked at the source code, you had a long list of instructions with go-tos, and sometimes it was hard to decipher. But in the world of client server, you have objects which are sending messages to other objects. I cannot read that source code. I can read it if it's my own. I can't read it if someone else does it. So I'm wondering, how long will all these applications live? The applications which are being built now, they're not going to live 20 years like the applications from the past.
Yeah, but
and then if you have software being written by AI, who's going to debug that?
Yeah, this is what I meant. This is exactly true. So AI rules and the way a logic goes through AI is hard to debug at all. Yeah.
But actually, the funny part of it is that the problem of the difficulties regarding black box-like elements in AI already exists in the past, because, Christiane, what you're saying, when you're sending messages, right? Plenty of software of the good old days already have subroutines that to an extent are kind of black boxes as well, simply because people lost documentation. They have no knowledge about the inners of something like, let alone the algorithms, etc. Also, if you go to the cloud, at a certain point you may be calling upon the service outside piece of software, and that's another black box as well, etc., etc., etc. So to an extent, it's kind of a continuation of kind of problems we already had
black boxes.
since the very first day.
It's not a revolution.
Yeah.
It's not a revolution. It's just an evolution. AI comes as an evolutionary thing.
But the problem at a certain point with AI will be, and that's almost the part I was planning on discussing, is at a certain point, you can be using, obviously, AI to accelerate things and to make it easier, but you can also use AI the wrong way.
I would like to bring one term into the discussion, which is a quite interesting term. It's decision making. So decisions are made by let's say normally intelligent people, and if someone is intelligent, he or she can go for an informed decision, because he or she analyzes the environment, the drawbacks, the pros and the cons and the risks and the money and the time and all the ingredients, and it takes time. So if you ask me, hey, should we go into the cloud or should we build our own data center? I say, wait a moment. I need 10 people and 3 months to analyze this subject. If it is a company with 50,000 people, then I can say you what is the pros and the cons and what is my recommendation. Because this decision is so complex that I need a team of analysts, and that I need a decision project. And only after a few weeks I come back. And now imagine that you have an artificial intelligence which is 100 times more intelligent than me, and you ask the question, hey, should I go for a cloud computing, or should I build my own data center for this organization? And the artificial intelligence will not answer in 3 months. It will answer in 3 minutes.
If it's more intelligent. If. More intelligence.
But now my provocation is it is not a time, it is not a question by when, or let's say, let me start again. It is not a question whether this will take place and whether such an intelligence will exist. It is just a question, when will it exist? This is my provocative thesis.
Well, my apologies, but I'm not so, as of today, I'm not so confident. Probably we agree on it will be in the future, but not necessarily, because, and my apology, but Oleksandr, could you perhaps continue a couple of slides towards the slide with stupid and lazy use, if possible?
You mean this one?
No, I don't think it's in the presentation, but I know what Guy means. I'm going to try and find it.
Sorry, Oleksandr, did you include the slides I sent you?
I'm sorry, I think I don't. Yeah, I'm really sorry for this. Yeah.
Right. So. Okay. If you allow me 1 second, please.
Yeah, I can find it as well.
No. The point is, if you allow me to share screen.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I've got it.
Because I'll do it the quick and dirty way. My apologies. Can you see?
No problem. Yeah, we can.
The problem is not this one or this one. I believe it's this one. No, this one. This one. Yeah. This wasn't the. I was about to say plenty of dangers, and once again, I agree that probably in the future we'll get to let's say better understanding and better usage of AI. But today the problem is people will be starting to use AI in a stupid way. Stupid being kind of, they will be using any type of model and to apply it for any kind of application, rather than thinking about what kind of model is more appropriate, what kind of data set for training is more appropriate to get to, let's say, the best possible solution. So today, anybody is doing anything whatsoever with kind of any kind of model without actually regard of what kind of model is being used, because there are plenty of large language models based on today's creative. But because of people illiteracy, they simply kind of going out and doing whatever kind of, without an insight into capabilities, limitations, or the constraints. Because be aware also that today's large language model based creative kind of AI is narrow AI. It's only regarding a very specific, a very clear kind of application, rather than, let's say, the more general AI, which can tackle and handle a whole series of cognitive tasks, etc. So, to an extent, what we have today is a kind of stupid use, because people don't understand what is kind of, for my problem, the most appropriate kind of model to use, and kind of, as a derivative, a kind of application. But also, and even worse, there is the lazy use of AI today, with people kind of simply taking the output for granted. There's no critical, lots of people simply accept the output of an AI product. Look, I still remember the good old days. Literally, I still remember the good old days when people actually said, the computer said it, so it must be true. Literally, because the computer was expensive, and whatever came out of the computer should probably have a higher value and a higher truth value than, for instance, whatever experts say. Nowadays, we have bloody well the same situation, where people simply accept output from AI, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's an hallucination, you name it, whatever, actually. And people are simply too lazy to an extent to doubt the output of AI today. And then we have kind of stupid situations where kind of, you have hallucinations, wrong output, dangerous output, and you can get on.
And I like,
so lots of, excuse me, one more remark. And another part of lazy is simply will be kind of using this as a kind of cheap or fast way of doing savings, economies, etc. And that's another reason why what you are saying, once again, I agree, we'll be getting to the situation where it will be better and truly understood. But today, people in their ignorance, in their AI illiteracy, are doing kind of whatever they're doing without considering potential dangers of output, etc., etc., etc. And that's, to an extent, look, I love technology. I love technology since I was a little kid, etc. And I've been writing for more than 30 years about IT technology. I love IT technology. And I understand when you're saying AI will be a help, etc. Granted. But the major problem, to an extent, and actually that's the same problem that Christiane has been touching upon, is to an extent the laziness, almost the inertia of users, of decision makers, to really put in the effort to understand what it's all about, what's the true value, what's the true productivity of this all. And that's, to an extent, what makes me kind of, if not to say pessimistic, etc., but at least it makes me wonder when we'll get to this point. And by the way, I sincerely hope, I agree with you that I sincerely hope that we get to the point when indeed people will be having this true and good use of AI. But
Yeah.
for today, deep
Uh,
sigh. Deep sigh. Sorry.
I have a good example to complement what Guy said. If you ask an AI program to write, if you ask ChatGPT to write a biography of a person, then the program is going to look on the internet for facts about this person. And the biography will contain some true facts, some hallucinations, and at the end, the person will die. Why does ChatGPT write it like that? Because most of the biographies that he has seen, at the end, the person dies. So he will always write a story where the person dies at the end. He's only imitating. He's not thinking. He's imitating.
Yeah, that's very true.
uh,
That's very true.
Guy, I'm sorry. I can share. I added the slides to presentation, so I can share a screen.
Okay, in that case, I'll stop sharing my apologies.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah. So what I wanted to add is it's very good what we are doing now. We are on the right way to put a lot of light on the let's say dark side of AI. And so what I was thinking on, of course, AI is only answering based on the material you have fed in. And if people by intention feed the sources of the AI with let's say unethical things or even political things which are
Oleksandr,
let's say not
one back.
not so much
This one?
good for
No.
good for humans, which are probably against humanity, which are only after money, or which are discriminating groups of people, or which are doing things, which are doing bad things. If they by intention feed the models with information based on such things, then other people are asking the AI, let's say other stupid people are asking the intelligent AI, and they are getting answers they believe in, and this is exactly the problem, because the answers have been manipulated by lots of information which have been put into the net or into the sources the AI is based upon, and this finally creates statements and answers which are not true. They are artificially built.
And also, by the way, what you're saying, I agree, because to an extent that also points to the last remark on the slide, because nowadays most of the models have been kind of fed with US-centric data. So non-English data, forget it. Non-US North America, so other regions, as for instance Europe or Far East, etc., forget it. So to an extent, by the way, also this US-centric bias means also US big tech, large technology, big tech companies, as for instance Microsoft, the Googles, etc. So clearly, we're at this point. And if you could provide me with the next slide, please.
We are all becoming Americans then, because based on the culture of America, all the people are educated by AI, and then we are all becoming Americans.
We are bloody morons at that point. My apologies. I don't want to insult people, but my apologies. That makes me think of a science fiction story called Ding and the Walking Morons. My apologies. Sorry, that's the reason why I'm used to the word morons. My apologies. So no insult intended, please.
So,
but the reason, excuse me, the reason why I switched to this slide is because it can done the right way. And to an extent, well, you all know the hype cycle of Gartner, and so clearly regarding AI, we're on the rise, and I can't but hope that we'll be as fast as possible to the throw of disillusionment. But
where are we? Where are we? We are on the first rise. We are still growing, or where are we now?
Unfortunately. So I hope we'll be quickly on the slide to throw, so that ultimately we can reach the plateau.
This is the graph that represents enthusiasm and investment. You remember at the 20 years ago, people thought that if they built a website, they were going to be successful, they were going to be rich, and there was a lot of investment in building websites. And in 2001, the internet bubble burst. And then you see on this graph, enthusiasm is going down and investment is going down. And then afterwards, we start working seriously. So Guy is getting nervous about this because we're now on the first side of this graph where there's a lot of enthusiasm about AI.
Also, because we have to be careful. One slide I skipped was kind of almost a history. We're referring to the AI winters and summers. There have been periods when AI got lots of money, and then suddenly, because of the disappointment, the disillusionment, suddenly the funds were drying up, and suddenly AI research stopped. So that's not something I want to happen. But the point is, it can also be done the right way. And there is an example, AI Gust, I mentioned on this slide.
Guy, we only have 3 minutes.
I know. So leave me. AI Gust is a Belgian initiative of accounting companies. And what they're doing is they're 3 of the larger mid-sized accounting companies. They've stuffed the data from their customers in a model. So they're using Belgian accounting data to teach their model. And they've opened up their platform to other customers as well, so that their data as well could be used as input. So ultimately, the solution provided, information provided by this company will be based on Belgian specific data and will be optimized for Belgian companies, Belgian accounting customers. Now, that's an example how it can be done and how it, I hope,
it becomes better. It improves.
Exactly. And considering the time, could you perhaps switch to the last slide? Continuing, because ultimately, again, the business analyst will play a role in this. Because if you take, my apologies, this is only part of it. If you take the AI Act, ultimately, the right use, the ethical use, the protective use of AI, by and large, will also be determined by regional aspects, as, for instance, the EU AI Act. And at that point, and getting back to my remark regarding the BA, the business analyst, as kind of having the helicopter view of over the whole process to see indeed that the requirements in the AI Act regarding protection of rights, having people involved in the loop, not something having been done 100% fully decision-wise by AI, that point it will be the business analyst that probably will catch stakeholders, business people, developers, and saying, hold it in the whole of the process. You should take care of what is being required, for instance, in the AI Act.
The AI Act is a new law from the European Union, which has recently been published. And that's what we want to talk about on BA Day on the 16th of May.
Yeah. Wow, this is very interesting. So, Oleksandr, do I have 30 seconds to tell a story?
Of course, yeah. We are hosts. We can do whatever we want.
So I was going on a long journey with on a car drive, and I checked out Blinkist. Blinkist is giving you books in a, let's say, very compressed form, a short version of a book. And I listened to some AI books, of course, because I want to prepare for the BA Day. And then I found a nice story. And the story is that there will be a coexistence between, or let's say, you will have 2 groups. You will have the intelligent human beings and you will have the intelligent machines. And so there will be a situation where the intelligent machines will think about the other group, about intelligent people, that why should we feed them, and why should we let's say tolerate all their misbehavior and all the things they are doing wrongly, because they are kind of stupid if you compare them with us, because we do not make errors. We don't need food, we don't need sleep, and things like that. So what do you think about getting rid of the human beings? Because they are kind of parasites, aren't they? This is the end of the story, isn't it?
And the problem is we're already going in that direction, because if we have black boxes, the output of the logic inside the black box might not necessarily be to the benefit of mankind.
This is what I wanted to say. Thank you for expressing this. This is
And
exactly the point what we need to have under control, and this is very dangerous. And this is why we need things like the AI Act or other things. Otherwise, it can turn around. What we have
Right.
invented to help us can damage us at the end of the day.
Because they're alien, they're not human.
Rainer, there is an interesting cartoon by Walt Disney. You see, Mickey Mouse is the apprentice magician, and he tries to do some magic, but instead of that, he floods the house.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
and still, I totally agree that AI Act is very useful and will help us. But I want to bring some optimism back to AI technologies.
Okay, please.
Because
Actually, they say so because it says, etc., human-centric, trustworthy artificial intelligence, while ensuring high level of protection, etc. But it ends by saying, and supporting innovation. Article 1.
Exactly, because we know on our as Ukrainian, I know on my own experience how IT can help in hard situations, in complicated situations. Because of IT, we had in the first months of war this full aggression. Our DIA, we have this IT system. They created electronic documents, and people could identify themselves only with smartphone, and it protected a lot of people from chaos. The other thing is just online education, online job, because a lot of people, millions of people moved away from their homes, but they could work still. They could work during the journey in some other places, so they could get some money. They could support themselves and their families. And even now with these shellings and rocket attacks, children still go to school. But online, they stay in the safe place, but they're still studying. So we have
fantastic.
we have a lot of examples how you can use, because technology is the same as another tool. And we can say that AI is alien to the people, but I think AI is too alike as a human, because we created just something like we are.
You mean
just
it's not to be
mirroring.
trusted. So you mean it's not to be trusted because it's human. I see.
Exactly. Because would you trust some stranger? Would you trust some stranger with some advice?
Yeah, and
making some decision?
you have nice people and you have bad people, and you have nice AI and you have bad AI.
That's
exactly.
And that's the reason why the AI Act protects you against the bad AI and the bad against the bad people
who uses
AI
this
badly.
AI. Exactly. So just we just got another powerful tool, and it's the only question to us: how we will use it. Will we make our lives better just creating some beautiful things, or we will just make it worse just doing some awful things?
And that's why I like technology.
Super discussion. So I think this is exactly what the BA Day will be about, and I'm quite sure that there will be a lot activity regarding business analysis and AI, meaning where the two things touch. And I think that BAs, they are kind of grounded. Yeah, at least I hope so. and they are not screaming, "Yeah, AI is coming." They are just analysts. And because they are analysts, they are grounded and they are naturally skeptical about new solutions and new tools. Are they really telling you the truth and things like that? And this is why BAs are becoming more and more important to judge and yeah, let's say rate the quality of AI-based solutions. And this comes for me. This discussion has really a closed circle. So thank you very much to all of you. So it's really valuable to discuss the things with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really interesting.